Listen, this isn't a story I'm telling for kicks. My grandma got punched in the face in a grocery store parking lot, and the woman who did it tried to play the whole thing like my grandma was the one who started it. Yep, over a parking spot. You're gonna laugh, you're gonna get mad, but let me walk you through the whole thing from start to finish, no filter, like I'm telling my kid in the middle of the night. My name's Joe, I'm in my mid-50s, and I've got a sarcastic streak. My grandma, Joanne, she's in her 70s but moves like she oils her knees every morning. We were at the grocery store loading the car, just enough canned soup to feed an army, sun, the smell of bakery, all that normal stuff, when a voice sliced through the air. Excuse me, that's my spot. Enter Karen, perfect hair, nails sharp enough to cut concrete, and an HOA badge clipped to her belt like it was a badge of honor. Grandma raised one eyebrow. Ma'am, this is a public lot. Karen pulled out her phone and pointed it at us. I'm documenting this violation. Some older drivers are a hazard, and the HOA has strict rules. I almost laughed out loud. HOA? At a supermarket? Karen smiled like she'd landed the punchline. We have standards to maintain in our community. People who can't park straight shouldn't be on the road. You know what I mean? Before I could even open my mouth, Grandma held up a hand, calm but firm. Young lady, I don't like cameras in my face. Step back. Karen sneered. You threatening me, old-timer? 1 minute we're loading groceries, the next minute this woman's ready to throw down. And then she actually did. She swung, fast, ugly, and connected knuckles to Grandma's jaw. Gasps. Someone shouted, hey, hey. Grandma stumbled, rubbed her cheek, then looked at Karen like she was aiming down the sights of a pistol. What is wrong with you? I barked, stepping up to block a follow-up. Karen immediately tried to flip the script. She attacked me, she's unstable. Phones went up, a crowd gathered. Grandma touched her face, eyes blazing. You just socked a 70-something woman in the face over a parking spot. How's that stable? Karen wouldn't admit it. You were crowding me. I felt threatened. I recorded the whole thing, she said, eyes darting. But there we were, literally loading groceries. Nobody threatened her. Sandra, my wife, rushed over. Is Grandma okay? Grandma waved her off. I'm fine. But not my patience. Karen started filming again, full meltdown mode. Everyone here just saw that old woman assault me. A few bystanders shook their heads. One said, Lady, we saw you throw the punch. Karen's face went pale, and then she doubled down. I'm calling the police. Grandma snorted, Go ahead. I'd love to chat with them. Karen dialed, muttering about dangerous seniors and reckless drivers. I exchanged a look with Grandma. She leaned close and whispered, She has no idea I'm a retired cop. Quiet confidence settled over us. Minutes later, a cruiser rolled up. 2 officers climbed out and scanned the scene. Karen ran to them, frantic. That old lady attacked me. She threatened me. Look at my face. One officer asked us what happened. Grandma was steady. She struck me. Witnesses can confirm. Karen cut in, outrage loud in her voice, insisting seniors shouldn't be on the road, and she was defending the community. An officer raised an eyebrow. That doesn't justify assault. Karen sputtered. I have an HOA badge. I enforce standards. The officer's face said it all. An HOA badge is not a police credential. When Karen realized HOA badge wasn't going to cut it, she tried to make an exit. I'll be filing charges. Grandma rubbed her jaw, refusing to look away. File away, she said. I'll file mine too. Karen slammed her phone shut, stormed to her car and drove off for now. The officers took statements and assured Grandma they would note her injury. A store manager shuffled over, apologetic and relieved no one else got hurt. Sandra tested Grandma's jaw with gentle fingers. You sure you're okay? Just a bruise, Grandma said. But if Karen thinks this ends here, she's mistaken. We drove home with a pulse that wouldn't settle. Who picks a fight with an elderly woman in a parking lot? Grandma flipped through her contacts and called an old friend on the force. That punch might be the tip of the iceberg, she muttered. I glanced in the rear view. You think she's got connections? Grandma gave that wry half smile. When people act this bold, they usually feel backed by something, someone. Let's find out. Sandra squeezed my hand. We'd dealt with worse, she said. I nodded, though my stomach was a knot. Karen's smug face wouldn't leave my head. At home, the next morning, an official-looking HOA letter sat on our table like it had been planted. Immediate violation notice. $100 for excessive debris on rear bumper. I choked on my coffee. Excessive debris? We drive on a dusty road, big deal. Karen had moved from a fist to paperwork. Sandra read it and said, "They can't fine us if we're not under their HOA, right?" Grandma said the thing that made my blood run hot. "They're playing intimidation. Most folks just pay to avoid drama." We started knocking doors. Neighbors told stories of fines piling up. Mr. Bloom had paid hundreds for lawn violations. Mrs. Curtis fined for a welcome mat. The Takahashis penalized for overwatering. "They just keep raising the fines," Mrs. Curtis whispered. "If you argue, they threaten liens, even foreclosure." It smelled like organized extortion. Charles, Grandma's old lieutenant, confirmed Karen's HOA had a reputation for aggressive enforcement, especially towards seniors. The pattern was ugly: small, repeated pressures to squeeze people out. Then the second letter arrived: unapproved trash bin placement, more fines, more nonsense. Someone had taped notices across our door. That's when we knew Karen wasn't stopping. We collected screenshots, emails, photos of garbage cans and lawns flagged as violations. Some neighbors were too scared to speak. Others came forward with horror stories. Each new account made my jaw clench. Karen wasn't a lone busybody. She was systematic. We started building a file. Every bogus citation, every voicemail, every neighbor testimony. Word spread that we were investigating, and some folks quietly sent us the receipts and harassment letters they'd kept hidden for years. One neighbor, Graham, sent an audio clip of Karen threatening him on his porch. "This could be easy if you just comply. We have ties downtown." That voice was arrogant, and to our relief, it was damning. Eva, a local journalist Grandma contacted, wanted to meet. She listened to our folder, scans, videos, testimonies, and her eyes widened. "If half of this is true, they're violating multiple consumer protection laws," she said. But she warned us, "If I run this, they'll retaliate. People like Karen don't go down quietly." Grandma was already ready. She threw the first punch. "We're just returning fire." They did retaliate. One night, our front window was smashed, and a brick lay inside with a scrap of paper. "Stop or else." I called the police. The officer bagged the note, but his voice sounded far away. But we weren't backing down. Grandma said, "Desperation leads to mistakes." And mistakes were what we needed. The real twist, the thing that changed this from a nasty neighborhood fight to an actual crime ring, came when Eva dug through paperwork and found a web of shell companies and money transfers tying Karen's HOA racket to a city power player, Richard Belmonte. Name rang a bell for my grandma. She'd run across him decades ago while investigating predatory HOA schemes that targeted seniors. Back then the case had gone cold. Now Belmonte's name popped up in documents, showing his political cronies profited every time an owner was pressured into selling cheaply. That was the smoking gun. Belmonte, deputy mayor at the time, now a councilman with higher ambitions, had been the quiet funnel for the profits. Karen wasn't just enforcing rules. She was part of a system flipping properties for profit. Eva's piece went live, and it hit like a sledgehammer. Neighbors who had been silent for years suddenly spoke up, and social media filled with stories of bogus fines, harassment, and coerced sales. They struck back with lawyers and PR. Trevor Dawson, a stiff-collared enforcer, showed up to our porch with papers and threats. "You have 72 hours to retract," he said. But when we went to the HOA meeting to confront them in public, the momentum we'd built, the scans, the audio, the neighbors' voices, changed the room. Detective Honland walked in with a tricolor badge and a team, and he had tracks of statements and financial records. Karen's face went white as they read out allegations of fraud and conspiracy. In a moment that felt surreal, uniformed officers put her in cuffs right there at the community center. That didn't finish it. Belmonte was the big fish, and he still had deep pockets and friends. But the investigation widened. Raids on his offices, lawyers scrambling, more documents surfacing. People who'd once been cowed by threats now felt safe enough to testify. Some got refunds, others apologies. Marie Delaney, a neighbor who'd been terrorized for months, came by crying. "I can sleep again." That simple line, "I can sleep again," it's the thing that made everything worth it. Weeks later, Belmonte was indicted on counts of fraud, money laundering, conspiracy, the whole house of cards. Karen took a plea deal and began naming names. The HOA's board was forced to resign, and a new, transparent leadership emerged. Our street slowly healed. Neighbors talking on porches, kids playing, no more anonymous notices on doorsteps. Grandma kept her battered old police binder tucked on a shelf, but she also finally tucked it away with a small smile. "Once a cop, always a cop," she said, half joking. Didn't know retirement would turn into taking down a crime syndicate. Funny how one misplaced fist in a parking lot blew the lid off a whole network. So what's the takeaway? It's not about age or status or a fist thrown in a parking lot. It's about refusing to be bullied, about community, and about the difference one family can make when they get loud enough to be heard. If you ask me what I'm proudest of, it isn't a headline or a mugshot on the paper. It's Mrs. Delaney sleeping through the night. It's neighbors reclaiming their streets. It's the quiet of a porch where people can talk without fear. Now tell me, do you think organizations like HOAs, meant to keep neighborhoods tidy, can become tools for bullying and extortion? Have you seen rules weaponized against folks in your community? Drop a comment, tell me where you're listening from, and share your story. If this pissed you off, share it. Let someone else who's being pushed around know they're not alone. And if you want more stories like this, hit like, subscribe, and tell me what you think about justice, right or wrong.